Hey guys, Martin here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so, as you can already see, of course, from the title and the thumbnail of the video, today we are going to be talking a little bit about what is going on with the physical Goku Black Super EZA in terms of global. So, obviously, this whole physical Rose release on JP, we've talked about it quite a bit now in different videos and on the streams and stuff. Because of course they've done what has happened the odd few times in the past, where physical Rose was a global first, came out on JP, and then his celebration has a bunch of extra stuff in it that wasn't released when the celebration was out on global. And annoyingly enough, like, this aspect of his celebration being missing is actually one of the things that I do find to be not just annoying, but like a bit of a global shaft, right? Because you can say that, you know, the Trunks banner unit that JP got, they did decide to drop him on global, you know, basically at the same time, right, when the Frieza banner came out the next day. So we didn't exactly have to wait an insane amount of time from his release on JP. We obviously had to wait from Rose's original release on global. But it's not really the end of the world, because that Trunks, you know, decent a unit though he is, he's not like, you know, he's not on Rose's team, so not having him back when Rose came out, not really the end of the world, right? Whereas this physical Goku Black Super EZA, he is very much like designed to help Rose, right? He goes on his team. When you've got a full Super Boss's team, he's got the extra orb changing, like he creates rainbow orbs, which obviously pre-Super EZA he was only doing against the Goku family enemy. So he is a massive help to physical Rose, not just on his team, but even if you're running him on a different sort of Super Bosses build, whether it's on JP with Broly, whether it's on Global with Zamasu, this guy releasing as part of the physical Rose celebration makes physical Rose significantly better. So the fact that he didn't come out on Global at, like, you know, as part of the physical Rose celebration is kind of like a global L, which is very disappointing. So we were waiting today. I had the title of the stream, you know, a bit of hopium. Today, earlier this morning, in fact, like the time this video goes up, I think it would have been about, what, 11 or 10 and a half hours since the normal time that global news drops. We were basically waiting to see, this morning would have been really the last opportunity for global to have announced in-game in the news that the Super EZA for Goku Black was going to come to global at the same time as JP, because this announcement here that we're looking at from the Dokkan info page, this went up on Monday, I believe, so a little bit earlier than usual. I think these events normally appear in the news 48 hours before they're going to come out in the game. So this came out on JP a little bit earlier than that. However, if it had come out on Global today, it would have then been 48 hours before the event came out, right? Because this comes out on JP on what is basically the morning of the 13th for the UK. I think it's like, even if you're in PST, it's like the very early hours of the morning, like after midnight, right? So it'll technically be the 13th. So if this was going to come out on Global on the same day, you know, at the same time, they usually do when they do same time drops, right? So it would have been an hour and a half later than the events normally are on Global, but it would have come out on both versions at the same time at 9 o'clock in the morning, UK time. If that was going to happen, today would have basically been the day that it would have been announced. And as it was not announced today, then we're pretty much at this point, it's like a 99% certainty, right, that it isn't going to come out on Global, at least at the same time. So that leads us to the point of the video, is when are they going to release the physical Goku Black Super EZA? Because the funny thing is, after Wednesday, it's Thursday morning. After Thursday morning, JP will have 4 Super EZAs and Global has 2, because of course we do not yet have the Tech Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks either. So the question is, where are they going to fit this in on Global? Because, you know, Global, the whole point of me talking about the Rose celebration at the beginning is Global's already had the Rose celebration. It's not like, you know, every other thing where Global's behind. So it's like, well, you know, when the Rose celebration comes to JP, like if this was just a random Super EZA, kind of like Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, right? Got his Super EZA in the Topo celebration. So we could assume, because it wasn't same time, that it'll just be part of the Topo celebration. But for this guy, we can't just say, oh, well, you know, his EZA, Super EZA is part of the physical Rose celebration, so we'll get it when we get physical Rose. Because, yeah, Physical Rosé was a global first and he came out ages ago. So where are they going to fit this guy into the timeline? Now, there's a few different options. The first one, which again, maybe a bit cope, maybe a bit of hopium, who knows, is that it might be one of those situations like the Gammas or even like the Int Gotenks EZA, where there really only was like about a week or even like 6 days, right, between this coming out on the two versions at the same time. Now, obviously, that would be preferable because, you know, especially as global players, as someone who pulled Physical Rosé, I want this guy Super EZA as soon as possible on global, right? So we can actually get a chance to use him. Hopefully we get him before the anniversary, but I would like to get him as soon as possible, right? So we can start trying him out, different teams and whatnot. So that is the best case scenario, I suppose. The shortest time frame is that he comes out within the next week or so. But the question is, where and how can they fit him in? If that's not the case, or even if it is the case, like how is he going to fit in? So if we switch over to the wiki view here, we can see this is where we are, right, at the current schedule, the beginning of June. This is last year's schedule, of course. So where we got this EZA for Physical MVP 17, this is where we got the EZA for AGL Bardock, right, the first sort of like big ticket Dokkan Fest exclusive EZA of the celebration. That's in this time slot here. Then we did get an Extreme Z area. We got the EZA for the Prime Battle Cell. I don't think there might be a Prime Power LR EZA that JP has that Global doesn't. I can't remember off the top of my head. So there could be something like that that fits in here. You know, this could be Rosé in that same time slot. Like the 16th is a Sunday for us, so it could always be next week, like I say, essentially like a week after it comes out on JP. But then the other thing we have to think about is when we get down to around here, around the 20th, this is where the Part 2 LR came out last year. So the 20th this year is a Thursday. We're getting the freezer event and stuff tomorrow, which is a Wednesday. So I'm imagining like a week later, maybe like Wednesday the 19th. So it's a week after the freezer stuff comes out. We could get the Part 2 LR. So we could get the Part 2 LR, and we could get the Physical Goku Black Super EZA sometime later that week or the same day as well. Especially if, and of course I might do a separate video on this in the next couple of days because we can talk about potential for like who the character can be and stuff like that. But there is of course the possibility that Global gets the same Part 2 LR as JP, because if we go back to what we were saying at the start of the video, it's the exact same problem. If JP gets a Part 2 LR for Rosé, where does that come out on global? Because we've already had the Rosé celebration. Now, one of the things that I've seen people talk about, I think Minato mentioned it on the podcast as well, is the fact that we could get a banner on global where we just get both of the two LRs, right? So this time slot, if we go by last year where this was Super Boo, who was the Part 2 LR for the April time slot on from JP, this LR would be the LR Ginyu Force. So that's who we would be expecting if it was just a normal year. But obviously with the sync, and then of course the fact that JP is currently having the Rosé celebration, who knows what could actually happen. So this LR time slot here there's basically three options. It's either going to be Captain Ginyu, or the LR Ginyu Force. It's going to be the same Part 2 LR as JP, or it's going to be Ginyu and the Part 2 LR from JP on the same banner. Because then, of course, Global would actually be caught up with yellow coin LRs. That'd be very interesting because it would be essentially like two different pity units. So I guess you do like your summons, build up to the number of pity coins, and if you've pulled one of the LRs along the way, you could then use the pity coins to get the other one, and then you've got both the LRs within the pity. That's, of course, you do have to actually pull one of them. So that would be an interesting option for Global. Let me know what you guys think down below in terms of what your preference would be. I know there are some people out there that do want Ginyu. Let's say the Part 2 LR is like a Kefla. I think the strong chances are it's either going to be a Kefla or maybe like the Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta that beats down Rosé. Would you rather we get the Part 2 LR that JP gets and get Ginyu some other time? Or would you rather we get both at the same time or just Ginyu? Let me know your thoughts down below. But after that time slot, we then go into a world tournament, and then the anniversary stuff starts like straight after this, basically. So if we stick to what we are seeing here, right, because remember, there's no other EZA here other than this, which is the Prime Battle LR EZA, which I guess they could use this slot for a Super EZA. If they're not going to do it in this time slot, where are they going to do it? So the other thing we were kind of talking about on stream earlier today, which I could kind of see being a possibility, is when we look at the Topo celebration from JP, Global has already gotten a lot of this content, right? So Topo comes out, it's Topo and his banner unit. Then he came out obviously at the beginning of April, so we got the April Fool's Day stuff. That was on both versions at the same time, so that's not really... Technically, this isn't part of Topo's celebration, right? Then we got the Int Gotenks EZA. Global already has this. We get the DB story update for the Namek Frieza event, which gives us the Goku's Compassion support memory. Global's going to already have this because it comes out tomorrow. And then we had the Legendary Frieza event. I think that technically came out with part 2, right? Because I think it came out the same time as the Yellow Ginyu Force. But the Legendary Frieza event, that's coming out on Global tomorrow. And so when you look at Topo's part 1, because Ginyu's here, right? The release of LR Ginyu, and then the Gotenks Super EZA. This is technically part 2, right? So part 1 of Topo's celebration, when it comes to JP, if you think about it now, which should be after the anniversary, is going to be Topo. And then... Is that it? That is actually it. Topo and his banner unit. I guess this support memory boost, if it's not one that Global's had already. And then that's it. No EZA, because we've already got it. The sub EZAs were part of part 1, actually, as well, to be fair. The AGL Gotenks, Int, Topo Pride Troopers, Physical Ribrianne, and Physical Super Saiyan 2 Saiyaman. But they're all sub EZAs, and they're all ones, I believe, that there are no missions for or anything. So you have to re-farm the stages with stamina. And then there is a quest mode update, but that's basically like the day before part 2. And that's it. So Topo's celebration, if they don't do something with Topo, where they either merge him with another unit, put him on a different banner or something, who knows, for Global, maybe some kind of like sync banner, right, where we get Topo and another unit that comes out between now and August on JP, so that both of them can come out at the same time on Global. When this drops, there's going to be such an empty celebration because we've basically gotten all of the content for it already. So what I could see happening is if Physical Goku Black Super EZA and like the part 2 from JP isn't going to come out, you know, within the next couple of weeks on Global, then that's what essentially could fill like this later part of the celebration. Because if we look back at the schedule for Global, once we get to August, so we have the anniversary. So if we go back to here, we get the anniversary, and then we go into August. These are the last bits of the anniversary, and then at the beginning of August, within the first week or so this was the 11th, the Dokkan Fest comes out. So this is where Topo would release. This is the 11th of August last year. We got the EZA that came with them, which obviously this would have been for Topo in Gotenks, but I guess it will be the sub EZAs. And then the worldwide celebration starts on the 25th. So this celebration is only like 2 weeks. So realistically, it doesn't have a part 2, which is why we would expect Ginyu to come out, or why Ginyu fits into that time slot where he comes out before the anniversary, because there isn't a lot of space in this part here for Global before the anniversary. But since they've stripped the Topo celebration of almost all of his content, maybe the Goku Black Super EZA will be in here, and then for this time slot on Global, where we are now at the beginning of June, of course it doesn't show 2024, at the beginning of June, this time slot here could be LR Captain Ginyu and the Tech Gotenks Super Saiyan 3 Super EZA. Now, as I said before, if it was up to me, I would much rather have the same Part 2 LR as JP and then the Physical Goku Black Super EZA. And, you know, who knows, maybe they will do all of their stuff at the same time, right? Both the LRs on the same banner, we get the Goku Black EZA. I would imagine if they're going to do that, they'd probably keep the Gotenks one to be part of the Topo celebration, but obviously it's hard to know exactly what they would do if they start merging stuff together. But yeah, basically with Goku Black Super EZA, the long and short of it is it's not coming out on Thursday morning on Global. Like I say, we're kind of at a 99%. If it was going to be out, we'd have either had an announcement in the news or another data download by now. So, which means it's either coming out in, you know, a week or so's time as what is technically part 2 with the LR, or it's not going to come out until after the anniversary, which means it has to, I guess, somehow fit into the Topo celebration. And then once the worldwide starts, in theory, we're going to get some more information during the anniversary, of course, but in theory, that's when the games are like syncing with the worldwide celebration. And so it'd be possible that Global doesn't have the Goku Black Super EZA at that point, and then who knows what they're going to do. Now, I guess the one thing actually that we can think about is that for the 9th anniversary, we did get at the very end of the anniversary, kind of like the EX part type thing, It's technically the beginning of March. We got the Butenks and Vegito EZA, and of course this has come early to global. So this means that this final like special EZA, this final part of the anniversary, global isn't going to get this. And last year, when that happened, was it last year or the year before when that happened, where the JP anniversary had the free-to-play LR juniors? I think it might have been the year before. Global got a global first EZA for Tech Full Power Super Saiyan 4 Goku. So because we can't get this in this last slot because we've already got it, I guess this is another slot where they could fit in the Goku Black Super EZA. Be kind of weird to just pin it in on the end of the anniversary, but if it hasn't already released, then this is a time slot where an EZA would have been releasing where there isn't going to be one now. Or, which would kind of mess things up even more as we get closer to the date that the sync is supposed to happen, this could be another global first EZA like it was with Full Power Super Saiyan 4 Goku. So I guess we will have to wait and see. Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comment section. When do you think physical Goku Black Super EZA is going to come to global? What would you prefer when it comes to the Part 2 LR situation? Do you want to see Ginyu come out here? Do you want to see the Part 2 LR from JP? Or do you want to see them both on one banner? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.